Okay, so for this week's discussion, I want to talk about the Flint, Michigan water scandal. I want to look at the ethical stance that was taken by the officials. Just a bit of background. Michigan has had many cities that have incurred large amounts of debt. Detroit filed Chapter 9 bankruptcy in 2013 with an estimated $18 billion in debts and long-term liabilities. Flint has had as high as $30 million in 2002. According to the Public Act 72 of 1990, it allows a financial emergency manager to be appointed for any local government. It has given them the power to break collective bargains. It also allows them to fire elected officials and privatize or sell public assets. There have been four emergency managers during the water crisis, and they were Michael Brown, Ed Kurtz, Darnell Early, and Jerry Ambrose. Before the water crisis, the governor appointed an eight-member review team to review the financial statements in Flint. It was stated by the review team that an emergency manager was necessary, and the governor appointed Michael Brown as the first emergency manager. During his first couple of days, he dismissed a number of top officials in the city itself, and he cut the mayor's pay from $107,000 to $24,000, and he cut city council members' pay from $23,000 to $18,000. This caused a rift between the emergency managers and the officials. In his fiscal budget, every department from police and fire had cuts in it, and he raised the taxes. This time, the city filed another lawsuit against Michael Brown, and he had to step down, and Ed Kurtz became the new emergency manager. It was at this time that a decision for the city to switch the water from the Detroit water to the Flint River was on the chopping board. Ed Kurtz passed the proposal in 2011, but at that time he was forced to step down, and Michael Brown was actually appointed back to the position. During this time, they had decreased the deficit from $30 million to $11 million that they had proposed in the budget. It was during this time that the health concerns became prevalent, and the residents began to complain about health issues from the water. The EPA detected higher levels of lead above the EPA's acceptable limit, and they asked officials to step in and handle the situation. The city council voted to switch back to the Detroit water, but the emergency manager, Jerry Ambrose, at the time overruled the vote, and the University of Virginia Tech tested the water and found 40% of homes had higher levels of lead in the water. It was during this time that the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality went public and said that to anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water, they should relax. The governor listened to the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality instead of the EPA, and it was around this time that the scandal began to blow up in the face of the governor, and he eventually signed a bill for $9 million to reconnect the Detroit water to provide relief, and this switch was made the following day. When it comes to the ethical situation, I believe that there are many who can be placed at fault. The local government for the amount of debt that they allowed to incur over the years, the emergency managers like Mike Brown, and the fact that they were the ones who actually passed the bill, and the fact that they switched back to the original water supply after the situation had already grown out of hand. And I believe that they were looking more at a financial aspect instead of the health concerns of the people themselves. And I would actually look at Jerry Ambrose, who was a emergency manager, who actually denied to switch back to the water after they'd seen these health concerns. You could lay a bit of the blame on the EPA for the fact that they did not push more after these health concerns were actually found, and you could also lay a little bit of the blame on the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. In fact, they told everyone who was concerned about the drinking water that they could relax. The blame can be given to many people in this situation, but I do not think that it's necessarily one person's fault. I believe that it's a group of people trying to lay the blame on someone else, but there were criminal cases given to by the Michigan Attorney General. One was against the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, and it was cited as a misconduct of office and a conspiracy to tamper with evidence. There are many lawsuits in case action lawsuits in the district court that were against the governor himself and the other 13 council official members, and one against the mayor of Flint. The emergency managers were also in these suits for neglect and recklessness, which led to the serious illness and the poisoning of some of the people in the city. In this situation, I believe that they weren't acting in an ethical and responsible way, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about that.